Most people who invest in ETFs and index funds think they are doing the same thing. They assume the names are basically interchangeable, like calling a soda a Coke or a Pepsi, different label, same product, and that assumption, as innocent as it sounds, could be quietly draining thousands of dollars from your portfolio over the next 20 or 30 years. Here is the part that should really grab your attention. The financial industry does not have a strong incentive to explain this clearly. The cleaner the confusion, the more products get sold. So today, we are going to cut through all of that. We are going to look at what these two investment vehicles actually are, how they actually work, where they silently diverge, and most importantly, which one is more likely to help you build real, lasting wealth depending on where you are in your investing journey. And by the end of this, you are going to understand something that most financial influencers, most brokerage websites, and even most financial advisors never bother to explain in plain English. So stay with us, because the most important part of this is not the part you think it is. Let us start with the big misunderstanding, because this is where almost everyone goes wrong. If you ask the average person what the difference is between an ETF and an index fund, most of them will either say there is no difference, or they will give you a half answer they heard somewhere online, and honestly, you cannot blame them. Go look at any major brokerage website. The descriptions are almost identical. Both track an index, both are diversified, both are low cost. Both are described as great long-term investment vehicles. The financial media loves to lump them together because, at their core, they share a philosophy. They both believe that trying to beat the market is a fool's errand for most investors, and that owning a broad slice of the market is a smarter move than picking individual stocks. That part is true. That philosophy is sound. But the vehicle you use to execute that philosophy matters more than most people realize. And there are 5 specific ways these two vehicles differ that can quietly shift your financial outcome over a decade or two. We will get to all 5 of them, but first, let us make sure we understand what each one actually is. Think of an ETF, which stands for Exchange Traded Fund. Like a basket of stocks that you can buy and sell on the stock market the same way you would buy a single share of Apple or Tesla. The basket might contain the 500 largest companies in America, or it might hold a collection of technology companies or healthcare companies or even bonds. The contents of the basket depend on what index it is designed to track. Here is the key thing about ETFs. They trade on a stock exchange all day long, just like individual stocks. That means if the market opens at 9:30 in the morning and you decide you want to buy an ETF at 10 in the morning, you can do that. You will get whatever the price is at that exact moment. If the price drops by noon and you want to sell, you can sell at noon. You have that flexibility. Your price changes by the minute throughout the trading day. This is not a small detail. It is actually one of the defining features of an ETF, and it has real consequences, both good and bad, that most beginner investors never think through. Now let us talk about index funds. An index fund is also a collection of investments that tracks a market index. On the surface, it sounds identical to an ETF. But here is the key difference. Traditional index funds, specifically mutual fund-style index funds, are not bought and sold on a stock exchange throughout the day. You purchase them directly from a fund company, and the transaction happens once per day after the market closes, at whatever the fund's price is at the end of that trading day. That means if you put in an order to buy an index fund at 10 in the morning, you will not get a price until the market closes, usually around 4 in the afternoon. You do not know exactly what price you are going to get. when you place the order. You just know you are going to get whatever the price is at the end of the day. Now, for a long-term investor who is building wealth over decades, does that matter? Maybe, maybe not. But it is one of the differences, and once you understand all five, you will start to see why the choice between these two is not as obvious as most people assume. Here are the 5 hidden differences nobody talks about. The first one is trading flexibility. We already touched on this, but let us go deeper. ETFs trade throughout the day, just like stocks. Index funds settle once per day. For the average long-term investor who is putting money away every month and not touching it for 20 years, this might feel irrelevant. And honestly, for that person, it mostly is. But here is where it matters. ETFs allow you to use strategies that index funds do not. Things like stop-loss orders, limit orders, or even options. This gives sophisticated investors more tools to protect against downside risk. For beginners, though, this flexibility can actually be a liability. Studies have consistently shown that more trading leads to worse returns for most people. The ease of buying and selling ETFs all day long makes it tempting to react to the market, and reacting to the market is one of the most reliable ways to lose money over time. The second difference is tax efficiency, and this one surprises almost everyone who hears it for the first time. ETFs have a structural advantage when it comes to taxes that most investors have never even heard of. It has to do with something called the in-kind creation and redemption process. Without getting too deep into the mechanics, the short version is this. When large investors buy or sell ETF shares, it does not trigger a taxable event inside the fund the way it can with a traditional mutual fund-style index fund. This means ETF shareholders are less likely to receive unexpected capital gains distributions at the end of the year, distributions that would be taxable even if you did not sell a single share yourself. This is not a hypothetical advantage. In years where the market is volatile and lots of investors are moving money around, mutual fund-style index funds can distribute significant capital gains to all shareholders, creating a tax bill out of nowhere. ETFs almost never do this. The third difference is expense ratios. This one is closer than people think, but it still matters. Expense ratios are the annual fees you pay, expressed as a percentage of your investment for the fund to manage your money. Both ETFs and index funds are known for being low cost compared to actively managed funds. But ETFs have historically been slightly lower on average. And while the difference between a 0.03% expense ratio and a 0.10% expense ratio might sound like nothing, let us run it through the math. If you invest $10,000 and it grows to $100,000 over 30 years, the difference between those two expense ratios could amount to several hundred to a few $1,000s in fees over your lifetime. It is not a fortune, but it is real money. Money that could be compounding and growing in your account instead of going to the fund company. The fourth difference is minimum investment requirements. This one is actually tilting back in favor of index funds in the modern era, but it used to be a major point of difference. Traditionally, many mutual fund-style index funds required a minimum investment, often $1,000, $3,000, or even more just to open a position. ETFs, on the other hand, could be purchased for the price of a single share. With fractional shares becoming standard at most major brokerages today, you can now invest in both ETFs and many index funds with almost any amount. But this is still worth understanding, because some index funds still carry minimum investment thresholds, and for someone just starting out With $500 or less, an ETF might be the only practical option. The fifth difference is automatic investing, and this one often gets overlooked, especially by beginners who are trying to build a disciplined savings habit. Many index funds, particularly those offered through retirement accounts and employer-sponsored plans like a 401k, are designed for automatic contributions. You set a dollar amount, you set a date, and the money flows in automatically every month. No thinking required. ETFs are trickier to automate in this way because buying them requires placing a trade on an exchange. Some brokerages now offer automatic ETF investing, but it is still less seamless than index fund automation. And here is why this matters more than it might seem. The single biggest driver of wealth for most Americans is not which fund they pick. It is whether they invest consistently, month after month, year after year, without skipping. Anything that makes automation harder is a silent threat to your long-term results. Now let us talk about the costly mistake, because this is where things get real. Imagine two investors. Both are 30 years old. Both start with $5,000. Both put in $400 a month. Both earn an average market return of around 8% per year. The only difference is how they behave. Investor A puts their money into an ETF. And because ETFs are easy to trade, Investor A checks their portfolio constantly. Every time the market dips, and the market always dips, they feel the urge to do something. Over 30 years, they make 17 unnecessary trades. They miss some market recoveries by a few days or a week. They pay a small amount of unnecessary capital gains taxes each time. Their returns average closer to 6.5% after all of this friction. Investor B puts their money into an index fund with automatic monthly contributions. They set it up once. They almost never log in. They do not trade. They do not react. Their returns average closer to 7.5%. After 30 years, Investor A ends up with roughly $670,000. Investor B ends up with just over $800,000. Same income, same time frame, same starting point. $130,000 of difference, not because of which vehicle they chose, but because of how they behaved inside that vehicle. The investment does not determine the outcome. The investor does. But here is the twist. The right investment vehicle can make it easier or harder to behave in the right way. So which one actually builds more wealth? Here is the truth that most financial content will not say out loud. For the vast majority of long-term investors, the difference between ETFs and index funds is far less important than the behavior of the investor holding them. A well-chosen ETF, held without tinkering for 30 years, will likely outperform a well-chosen index fund that gets second-guessed every 6 months. But all things being equal, same index, same consistency, same time horizon. ETFs have a slight edge on tax efficiency, and index funds have a meaningful edge on automation and behavioral guardrails. Neither one is universally better. Each one has a context where it shines. What do wealthy, experienced investors actually understand about this? Here is something interesting. The investors who consistently build wealth over decades are rarely the ones obsessing over the difference between ETFs and index funds. They are obsessing over a completely different set of questions. How much am I saving? Am I increasing my contributions as my income grows? Am I staying invested through downturns? Am I keeping my fees low across the board? Am I making emotional decisions or rational ones? Experienced investors have learned, usually through painful experience, that the enemy of good investing is not picking the wrong fund. The enemy is interference. It is the decision to sell when the market drops 15%. It is the decision to pause contributions when the news gets scary. It is the decision to chase last year's top performer. Warren Buffett has said for decades that the best investment most Americans can make is a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. He did not say ETF. He did not say mutual fund. He said low-cost and index. The structure matters far less than the discipline. So here is the final verdict, and we are going to make this as practical and clear as possible. If you are a beginner investor with a small amount to start, little experience trading, and you want to build wealth automatically without thinking about it, a low-cost index fund, particularly one inside a tax-advantaged account like a Roth IRA or a 401k, is probably the better starting point. The automation, the simplicity, and the behavioral friction it creates around impulsive decisions work in your favor. Look for funds with expense ratios below 0.10%. Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab all offer excellent options in this category, with some charging as low as 0%. If you are an investor who already has some experience, wants more control over taxes, particularly in a taxable brokerage account, and values the flexibility of intraday trading without necessarily using it impulsively, an ETF tracking the same index is likely the smarter choice. The tax efficiency advantage alone can be worth a meaningful amount over the long run, especially as your portfolio grows. And if you are somewhere in between, you can use both. There is absolutely nothing wrong with holding ETFs in your taxable brokerage account for tax efficiency and index funds inside your 401k for automated contributions. Many experienced investors do exactly this without any conflict. The real answer to the ETF versus index fund debate is not one or the other. It is understanding which one fits your current situation, your current behavior patterns, and your current level of discipline as an investor. Here is the final thought we want to leave you with, and it is more important than anything we have covered today. The financial industry makes a lot of money keeping these conversations confusing. When investors are confused, they defer to experts. When they defer to experts, they buy expensive products they do not need. When they buy expensive products, the industry wins and the investor loses. The very fact that you are watching content like this, asking questions, trying to understand the mechanics behind your money, that puts you ahead of most people by a significant margin. The difference between an ETF and an index fund is real. It is worth understanding. But the difference between an investor who starts today and an investor who waits another year trying to figure out which one is perfect, that difference is measured in tens of thousands of dollars of compounding growth that is gone forever. The best investment vehicle is the one you actually use. The best time to start is always earlier than you think, and the most expensive mistake in investing is never the fund you picked. It is the year you spent not picking anything at all.